Welcome to the Automotive Diagnostic Podcast. We're going to explore ways to sharpen our diagnostic skills, find learning resources, and hear from experts in the automotive field. Hey, what's going on, automotive world? Welcome to another episode of the Automotive Diagnostic Podcast. My name is Sean Tipping. I will once again be your host for today's episode. Joining me on the show this week, we've got Mario Rojas of Super Mario Diagnostics on YouTube, and we've got Sepulveda of Oz Mechanics on YouTube. So both of these guys have awesome YouTube channels. I will put links in the show notes so that you can check these out. Definitely recommend doing that. It was really cool to get to sit down with the two of these guys. I had never met Oz in person. I've had Mario on here once before. Really awesome guys doing a lot for the industry. We're going to talk about a whole host of different topics. We start off talking about European cars and some of the classes that we've been taking at ASTE. We'll also get into content creation, right? They both have YouTube channels. I've been doing the podcast. We'll share some experiences and thoughts on that. We talk about Scotty Kilmer and how awesome he is, and a number of other things. But really enjoyed this talk. It's really cool to sit down with these guys. Hopefully you will enjoy it as well. With that all out of the way, we'll jump into the episode.
If this chat's about Euro, I'm just going to be like... You're just going to see me like...
So what's your favorite BMW?
You like those E36s, man?
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
What's an E36?
Yeah, people start saying N54 and then E this, and I'm just like, hang on, let me Google. I got to see which one that is.
And then the Mercedes chassis numbers.
Oh, God, yeah.
What is it? I only know the 54 and 52, right? Am I right with those numbers?
There's an N54.
Okay, but that's like...
as well.
But one is like a California emissions, right?
Yeah, I don't memorize that.
Okay, that's all I know.
Once you start working on it over and over and over again, then you start to see, hey, this one again?
Yeah, exactly.
But those are the 2.5s, right? Yes?
I couldn't even tell you, dude. I don't bother trying to memorize.
Wow, now I know more.
I think it's a 3-liter, if I'm not mistaken.
We do have our phones.
The Mercedes transmission is the 722.9. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one I know because I get calls in to do the used trannies. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they're done all the time. But that's it. And I was like, Mercedes has decimal points as well as the numbers. Like, how am I supposed to remember all these? But I was in Justin Morgan's class yesterday, and he gave us like a breakdown of the whole engine designation for BMW. Like, and then it's the dumbest thing in the world because a 6 is an 8-cylinder, and then like what was it? Like a 4 is a 3-cylinder, something just ridiculous like that. But he gave us the whole chart, so at least I have it as saved in my phone as a PDF now.
Which wiring diagram is it? Because I'm mostly domestic, so I'm probably gonna sound ignorant right here. Which is a diagram that doesn't say what it is? It just has like J299, and then in the bottom it has.
It's a lot of euros,
I think. Ones?
I believe so.
The track diagrams that you have to follow the wire down to the bottom, it'll give you a number, and then you have to reference that to another like 100 pages later.
Yeah.
That's a track diagram.
Okay, but that's mostly all Euros have that? Is that like
OE? Is that Volkswagen? OE? I think it's just Volkswagen and Audi.
Yeah.
Maybe Porsche as well. Yeah, Porsche, Ferrari.
You pretty much
don't they label the BMWs like that too, or it's just a number?
In my opinion, are the best diagrams you can find.
But you need ASTE, right, for that,
or Air
to use it to its full potential. If you're using like Identifix and then doing the OE diagrams, that's a pain in the ass to filter through them.
All Data came out with the ability to hover over the hyperlinks, and it'll show you can click on them. If you go to the OE diagrams, I actually showed them in my videos because a lot of people don't know that. And you hit the button and it'll show you the component location.
Okay.
But in the actual scan tool, when you have ASTE, you hover over it, you click on it, and it'll open up a half page, like a split view.
Yeah.
And it'll show you the component location. with all data, you're changing pages completely. Like you're
Yeah.
going to a different web page at that, different tab or whatnot. So it is a little more cumbersome.
Well, and like Justin was saying yesterday, it's $30 a day, right?
Yeah.
Or you can do the 2,500 a year for everything. That's scan tool functions, all that stuff. But for the service information, $30. And if you learn how to navigate it a little bit, man, that's the way to go. Like I haven't been doing that, but I need to do that. Like you'd save that $30 easily in just using the navigation of like, here's the component and it brings up everything about it.
But to do that, you have to download everything, right?
Yes, you have to pay the $30 first, then download ISTA.
Which takes what?
Is that the same with ISTA Air? Do you have to
No,
download
actually,
everything?
it's web based if I'm not mistaken. I have barely used Air, but there's a pitfall with using Air. You don't get the full view, so
The screen's smaller.
it's like looking at it through a microscope. It's you're limiting your view, and that helps. People don't realize how like something so simple can actually help you. But yeah, it's worth it just to get ISTA anyway. Download it into your laptop and pay the subscription if you need to, or
Yeah, I remember I called you to get that downloaded.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, Mario, I need to download this. And I thought it was going to, maybe an hour or so. No.
I've been wanting to do it, but I think I got to get a separate laptop just for ISTA because all the ones I'm using, I don't think I have enough space for it.
I think it's like the biggest. It is definitely the
500
largest.
gigs?
No, that's the capacity of my laptop, but the largest capacity program that I have in my laptop is ISTA.
It needs 250 free, if I remember
Right,
correctly.
I think so.
Okay.
And then a certain processor and Windows 10, all that stuff. So I'm just going to get a laptop just for that. But I've been waiting on an ICOM. I don't know when I'll see it. And that's why I've kind of been dragging my feet on it. But it's just like everything else. You can't get it right now. Plus, of a place.
And I think after I got that, I haven't seen a BMW or anything like that.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
You buy that scan tool and then you guaranteed you're not going to see that. Type of car for a
that's
while.
how it was. I remember I was all excited and I was like, finally, diagnosed the car, was done. And I was like, all right, when am I going to use it again?
Yeah.
3 years?
Yep.
You buy that. Good thing you didn't buy the year subscription.
No. Because sometimes you get to the point where you're like, should I just get the year subscription or what? Yeah, luckily I backed out of that one.
Yeah, that's a tough call sometimes on, you're saving if you're doing enough of them, but then am I going to do enough of them? That's kind of how it's been for Chrysler with me is I'll have a month where I do a ton of Chrysler, but then I'll have a couple months where they're really sporadic as for the programming. And so it's like, do I buy the whole year subscription or just do it, a case by case basis, and it's tough. But I try to look at it at the end of the year. Now that I'm full time, it's a little easier because I know I'll be doing it. But when I was in school, especially, I'm doing like half teaching and half mobile.
So you're not even teaching anymore.
No, I this last spring was the last semester, so I had to pick a path because I was trying to do too much, and I was kind of half-assing both things because my focus could only be applied in so many areas, and the mobile's the way I decided to go. It was a tough choice.
I can imagine.
Definitely a tough choice, but I'm enjoying it so far.
But getting to that programming, how many times have we bought a special tool
Yep.
that was so darn expensive, and we're so happy once we got it,
Yeah.
and the ROI wasn't,
I got them sitting in boxes in my office right now. I'm like, I'm going to need this thing, because I got one call on it. Or here's the other thing. I'll see a bunch of other guys doing it on Facebook or in the chat groups or whatever, and they're all doing these things. I'm like, I'm going to need this thing. And I buy it and it just sits there. So, at least I have it. But yeah, sometimes that ROI doesn't come. What do you guys think? And we're probably coming at it from different perspectives here, but what tool or piece of equipment do you got has the best ROI for you?
to be quite honest,
The
Tesla.
pen.
For me, test light, Harbor Freight test light,
Yeah,
199
ratio of cost to that's a very good point. That's probably true for most of us.
Yeah, if you really look at it, man, I'm not gonna say $10,000 snappy. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that. No,
It depends on what you define as tools, because I could consider my cell phone to be one of the biggest contributor to my daily
Sure.
workflow.
Right. Right.
Doing DVIs, looking up diagrams all the time, referencing certain PDFs, transferring information between laptops and the cell phone all the time. Emailing.
That's a very good point. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to run my business without a phone that was connected to the internet. Like that's definitely. I mean, I use it for hotspot too, a bunch of the time. All kinds of apps on there for key stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
X-Horse.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can run certain tools through it. Yeah, that would be. You could. Yeah, you could. I suppose you could double a tablet in there as well. Actually, I want to get an iPad just for stuff like that and taking pictures. But yeah, that's a huge one for sure.
And you get a nice camera too, because
yeah,
for the DVI.
yeah. So, but one thing is, and I learned this. Hopefully, no one goes to this. If you are using your hotspot and you have a dual SIM,
okay,
yeah, just don't turn off one of the lines, because if not, the Wi-Fi will shut off, or your hotspot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so no internet.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to be programming the computer and then something happens.
Yeah,
you don't want to brick
kidding.
it.
Right.
I'm also grateful that a lot of more manufacturers are like no longer programming via a live stream, so to speak. They are now downloading it into the tools
and then
programming.
Yeah,
yeah,
We need more of that
for sure. The GM does that, thankfully.
Yes.
Because
they did it before.
They didn't, but their new setup is so sketchy. But once TLC starts programming, you can shut internet off and it'll keep going. It'll finish what it's doing, which is really nice. And that's probably true of most of them too, because I know the micropod for Chrysler's that way. Like once it's in the tool and you're connected, it's going to be programming that car.
Yeah.
But GM is forgiving if something happens.
Sometimes,
yeah.
I'd say Ford's probably the most forgiving.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah.
It's almost difficult to brick a Ford. You can fail the programming, but it's tough to brick them. Yeah, you can recover GMs in a lot of circumstances for sure. I've had a couple where that's not the case. Unless you're going into like the board level.
Yeah, that's the next level stuff.
Right.
So in Euro, what? Because I know, like for sure, the ones that I'm just kind of always scared when I get into it is Nissan with nerds, because sometimes the program will be 3-4 hours.
Sure.
On the older ones. So how is it with the Euro? What's the one that kind of just scares you just a tiny bit?
An F chassis. Which in English is those F10s and whatnot. I don't even know what they are now. It's like 5 Series. BMW. I did everything by the book and had to leave it overnight and come back the next day and break the DME.
Oh my God.
And it took next level stuff to get it back, to recover it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they do the whole car, right? Or like every module that's out of date has to be updated at once on those.
Yeah, no choice. And that's a good thing. We say that as if it's an impediment, but it's actually the way it should be, because it's hard to give an analogy, but when one module is up to date, another module may be up to date, and all the other ones are left behind.
Sure.
The car is not jiving, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. All the intercommunication between and the shared information between systems now, that makes sense. And you see that in like technical bulletins.
Right.
GM has it. It's sequential, the ECM, TCM. Like you have to do both of them. Yeah. Chrysler has one where, hey, if you update the PCM, you have to do the TCM or your shit's not going to work. And so BMW, they just say, yep, everything's got to be up to date. So it definitely makes sense.
And when did you start the program on that? Because on my Nissan, I remember when I was working on it, I started at 4 o'clock. And then you know how they have they go by seconds. I forgot how much it was. It was like if we divided, it was 5 hours.
Oh jeez.
And imagine you're ready to go home, and it's 4:30. Dude, I just had to I waited there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was yeah, those are the fun ones.
Well, the worst ones are like the ones that take long and you have to be there to press the next button.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's annoying. You know? When are they going to just stop doing that to us? Like SDD?
Right.
Press tick to continue. Oh my goodness.
I got a funny story on this one. I was actually programming it was a Land Rover. It was a BCM on the Land Rover. I forgot what they call it, but it was a BCM on that one. And I was just focused because I was actually one of my first times ever programming that. And while I was working on it, it says do this, do that. It's telling you different things to push. And when I'm programming, I'm focused. And the customer comes by. He's like, "Hey Oz, I'm dropping off my vehicle. Okay, just leave the keys right there. Send me a text message on what issues you have. Well, give me 1 second. Let me just explain to you." And I'm just freaking out because on this one I had like a little timer, do this at X amount of time. So I just told him, "Okay, just leave the keys there. I'll get to you." And he just kept on. He was persistent. He was like, "Let me just tell you what's wrong with my vehicle." So I just kind of I listened to him. I was like, "All right, cool. Leave the keys right there." So I'm programming, and it gets to the point where it's like, "All right, get your key and start programming the key." So I get my key. It says hit unlock, and I can hear the unlock. Okay, cool. And then I'm looking at the scan tool, and it says it hasn't programmed.
Okay.
And then the timer's going off, and I'm like, "Okay, do it again." And I can faintly hear something. I'm like, "What the heck, dude?" And it's not taking it. After 5 tries, it just went to the next thing. So I'm finishing up everything, and as soon as I'm about to close everything, I grab the key. The key that I grab is the one that the customer gave me. I see a Hyundai sign on it.
Sure.
And what I was hearing was the car. Was the other car. But I was I was in tunnel vision at that point. Yeah. And like I said, it was a little timer, so I was just grabbing the keys, and I didn't realize what key I grabbed. When he gave me his key, I put it on top of the Land Rover key.
Yep.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, but it's that easy, man. And it's, how many times have we been in a pretty big job, meticulous job? You have to keep everything clean. Go in a certain process, certain order, and then they pull you away.
Yep.
Whether it's sometimes they tell you, "Oh, can you talk to the customer for this and that," or "Can you do an oil change on this and that?"
We go to waiter.
Come on, you don't do that. I mean, but more than likely, we're preaching to the choir on this one. I mean, we know that you don't do that, but
it's normal shop life. I will say the period of my career where I made the most mistakes or forgot the most stuff was when I had to be mechanic and service writer. That was how the shop was set up. I had to answer the phone. I had to sell my tickets. I had to greet people that came up front because it was a really, really like 2-bay mom and pop shop. So I was dual role. And so I was always stopping what I was doing to answer the phone. And it just invariably you forget, to tighten this one bolt or to do this one thing. And it was the worst. And going from that to a point where I can just focus on what I'm doing, it makes all the difference for sure for forgetting stuff or missing stuff like that. It is nice to just have that. I mean, to actually be like tunneled in on something for a little bit is a good thing, and not have people coming in and distracting you. But that's life. That's just the way it goes. You got to deal with it.
Sometimes we got to roll with the punches. But how many times do we see shop ads that they're like, "Oh, you must be able to work with others," and what they mean is you're gonna have to help somebody else, which is great.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah.
But if you're in the middle of something important, you cannot be distracted. That is the perfect time that they choose for help.
Right. They're just sitting over waiting for it. He looks like he's really into what he's doing.
Let me go ask him a question.
But have you ever worked on a car and just say you have your phone right there and you're listening to a podcast or whatever, and then you have to go underneath the vehicle, and then you're just trying to get something done there, and then you get that phone call.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And you're like, should I answer or should I not?
Uh-huh.
And you're like, dude, it's probably someone, it's probably a customer. Then you go up there and there's boop. Hey, we have blah, blah, blah. Jesus. Dude, that happens to me probably 5 times every day.
For sure. The scam likely thing helps because it'll pop scam likely up on my phone a lot, dude, but they still get through.
Yeah, and so now what they're doing, they're actually buying
local phone numbers.
Yeah, local phone numbers.
Yep.
That's what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if you guys are into Apple or not. I know Justin Morgan hates Apples. But I got one, and probably Androids have the same option where you could go into your phone options and put block unknown callers.
Sure.
And that's great for me. If I don't have your number in my contacts, you're just not gonna reach me.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work for a business owner.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, it doesn't work for me.
We've been trying to call you, man. It's just
you want my money or not?
Yep. Yeah, I get numbers that I don't know all the time calling me as a mobile stuff. Oh, hey, I got your number from this. But yeah, the Apple does an okay job at throwing the scam likely thing up. But yeah, that's it for me. Is if I'm into a really intricate diagnosis or something like that, that's where it's really like I'll leave my phone in the van and just not be answering it because I got to stay focused on what I'm doing. If I'm programming something, if I got to answer the phone, oh yeah, hey, I'll be there. That's not the end of the world. But yeah, trying to like work through a network issue or something like that, I don't want to be like stopping and talking to people in the middle of it. I suppose that's where being in a shop scenario is going to be a little better because you have somebody to answer the actual shop phones and take
Sorry,
that
guys,
stuff.
I'm not a business owner. But
not yet.
Not yet.
But I was going to ask, so has anyone ever found out your number from YouTube or anything like that?
No, what I get is the Facebook Messenger calls from Africa.
Oh, no kidding.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's serious. Like Nigeria, I get a lot of calls from Nigeria.
Really?
And
Nigerian king or prince or whatever. He's trying to give you his riches, man. Dude, you're missing out right now. He's probably like, man, I watched one of Mario's videos and it just fixed up my Bugatti or something like that. I just want to send him like $2 million, and you're missing out right now, Mario. You need to answer.
That call.
It's the one time where it's not a scam.
Yeah,
I get a lot of those though, and what people don't know about me is that I hate talking on the phone. Even anybody, it doesn't matter who it is.
Sure.
I just hate talking on the phone. Hey, text it to me.
Uh-huh.
I'll text all day long, but then you have people who found me through social media, and I don't mean to be a douche or anything, but I can't answer everyone's calls.
Yeah.
It's just not happening.
You only got so many hours in the day. And yeah sometimes if some people are asking me questions on stuff, I'll just shoot them a reference. Like, here, go check this out. Like,
that's the whole point of the groups too.
Yeah.
It's like, ask it in the groups and we have the data and we can text.
Yep.
And we can refer back to the text instead of talking to somebody. And what's funny is that some of those calls they'll call you one day and say, hey, I got a 3 series, this and this and that. I picked up the phone a couple times and got into that rabbit chase, They would tell me, hey, listen, I got this 5 series, this and that and all that, and then I'll give them a quick, direction and all that. And then 5-6 months later, they're like, hey, remember that 5 series? I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Who are you?
Yeah.
So that's why I'd rather have text messages because I'm not going to remember anything.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like,
if
it was a few months ago, what did I talk to this guy about? Oh, yeah, okay, all right. Definitely, I totally understand that.
Like calls, no thanks. I mean, and then the whole thing where like, oh, you told me this and this and that. It's like, oh, here we go.
Okay.
And if it's not in person, it's different, right? So you could take 1 million calls a day and say a bunch of things and not remember.
Yeah,
but
there's no face.
When there's face to face, more than likely you will have a better chance of remembering it. At least for me.
Yep. No, I totally agree with that. At least you saw the car in person or something like that. That makes a difference. If I go to the shops doing my mobile stuff, I'll remember that 3 series I put keys in. But if I talk somebody through it, I never saw their face, I never saw the car, I didn't actually do the keys, Yeah, I'm probably gonna be like, help me out, dude. I don't remember what we're talking
Yeah,
about
you
here.
have to start all over.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you never get like those super fans that go to your shop.
I've
say,
had people visit me at the shop.
I want you to work on my car.
Nice.
Yeah, actually, I've had. Well, now I don't know if I would call them super fans, but they consider me competent enough to want me to work on their car, and then they would bring it. And we're not cheap, guys. We're not cheap. And I tell them straight up, like, it may be around this area, this much. Some people are like, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And other people are like, yeah, we'll be there, and then they never show up.
Sure.
That's normal.
Yeah.
That's normal.
Yeah.
But I do have people they find me through the channel, they'll leave a comment, hey, how do I come in contact with you? All right, well, I'm in Autobahn Performance, Oakland Park, what, yada, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
And they find a way to reach out. But the weirdest one I had was a guy that found me through YouTube, and he says that he wants me to be on the phone as I'm diagnosing it. And I'm like, I'm telling the service writer, he's like, this guy's on the phone. I don't know who he is. He's probably going to watch this. And he straight up told my service writer, I want him to like walk me through the process as he's doing it on a Porsche Cayenne.
You were charging, right?
Communication issue.
Yeah.
And
You were charging, right?
yeah, we were charging. Well,
Okay,
we were pending approval at the time. We were trying to get approval at the time, and that was one of his like things. And my service writer was like, "That's not possible. I mean, he doesn't get on the phone. For me, I don't like answering phones. Like I said, I hate being on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll try to help customers out, and sometimes I have to translate and whatnot. But service writer tells me, he tells me as it's happening. We use Slack as communications and whatnot, and I'm like, that's not gonna happen. I'm working on other stuff. I'm in and out of this car. There's no way I'm gonna talk to this guy and walk him through this whole thing.
Right.
And then the guy responds, well, he does YouTube videos. I'm like, that's not the same. That's not this. I'm putting a camera there. I'm letting it sit there.
Right.
I'm doing my thing. I'm talking out loud.
Yeah.
But, there's like a lot of interruptions that I have to edit out.
Yeah,
like
editing.
Gates. My brother will come and ask a question. I'll cut that out. It's not like I'm there on the car the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I have to step away. I'm juggling several cars at a time. So that was the weirdest one. And my service writer is like, hey, listen, I think you're going to have to come get your car. That was by far the most ludicrous request we've had.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I don't even know if it was a fan because, you'd think that because they reach out to you through the channels
Mm-hmm.
or through your business and whatnot, you think that they're fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But a lot of times, you learn this the hard way. A lot of times people just want to watch you fail. And I'm not saying that that's what's happening with this guy.
Okay.
But I've noticed that. And that's part of putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And they'll be nice to you. They'll talk nice to you and all that. But in reality, they just want to see you screw up.
Okay.
For whatever reason. I don't know what it is. But there's always that. That happens to everybody.
I like when I make a video and they just pick one little small thing in the video.
Sure.
And I was like, so through this whole video, you only pick that little small thing, just that little failure. And
Right.
I was like, dude, I'm just human. I'm gonna fail,
Right. That's the best part about YouTube stuff. At least what you guys are doing is it's reality. It's very close to the real shop life that you would experience if you were in a shop, rather than something that's like produced and the old school training videos where that stuff that wasn't actually real people working on a real car. So yeah, there's gonna be a little stuff like that. You're not don't have your safety glasses on, or you knock a bottle of coolant over or something like that.
Well, that's the thing. So when there's a part when I was making my videos, and then I would just try to make it as perfect as I can.
Yeah. That's not going to fly.
Yeah, that's not going to fly. So
you spend so much time instead that it becomes unproductive, unprofitable too. So, no.
A lot of people would tell me, they're like, you say so too much, or this other, you'll say something else.
Guy.
I know what looks like on a waveform. I've got so many of them. Yeah.
It's like, you say a lot of that stuff, so I'm editing every so.
Cutting the slows.
So. And then imagine someone meeting me, and I'm just like, so. Like, I'm not, you're not like that on your videos. You know, that's why I want to keep it real. And then on some videos as well, you know, dropping the scan tool or just acting up or just doing something bad. That's when the techs relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't want to see you and say, oh, man, look at this guy. He never messes up. Right. Check out his videos. He's just this princess or whatever. But when you relate to every other tech and you show them, hey, you know, we all do our little mess ups and we'll put it out there so everyone sees. It's relatable, man. It's a nice little thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Nobody's, you know, batting 1,000. Like, that's just life. And it is good to see, you know, the reality of that for everybody, that everybody goes through it, gets their butts kicked, fails, makes the wrong call. I think that's important to include, you know, in everything. And some of the more successful people that have been out there, like Paul Danner, you know, he'll include all that stuff. You know, when he messes something up, he'll make a video out of it. He's got a lot of successes too, but I think that makes, you know, him and others that do that more relatable than anybody else. And then you could see it while he's here. You know, he can't make it down the hallway without 4 people stopping him, talking to him and everything. But yeah, it's editing is for you know, I do the podcast thing and like, listening to yourself talk, that's tough.
Worst.
That is tough.
So how was it when you started, man?
Oh, I hate my voice to this day, but I've gotten used to it a little bit now. But when the first time I did it, I'm like, this is what I sound like? Oh my God, no one's going to listen to this. It's just, you don't hear it the same in your own head. But then you pick up on those things like and so and like and okay and I'm saying this way too much, and you can get better at it, but you also just kind of have to let it go, because that's how for me, it's how I normally talk, right? I'm going to say and I'm going to say so and things like that, and just whatever if somebody has a problem with it.
So have y'all ever watched How I Met Your Mother? Okay, you know when they would take a shot. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep all my so's on there, and then we're gonna do a drinking game. So every time I say so, you gotta take a shot. It's gonna be like that, all right? So I'm gonna keep it like that. I'm gonna keep the so's on there, and y'all just take a shot, and hopefully everyone's drunk by the end of the video. Yeah, I can't watch all this video.
I get worse with time. I have to edit my videos, and you know, I want to make sure it's a good product, so to speak, right? Mm-hmm. So I go through every second of it, and I get worse in the sense that I've gotten to the point that every time I hit play, I'm like, I'm sick of this guy. I can't even stand this guy. But then it makes it nice. It's nice that people give me feedback and they say, you know what, keep doing what you're doing.
Yep.
So
definitely,
I'm just gonna keep going at it, even though I'm sick of myself already.
It's when I edit my videos, man. Like, so the process I do, I have. Let's just say I start off with an hour and 30-minute video. Yeah. I'm trying to compress it down to like under 20 minutes.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to make it where you don't get bored or whatever. So I try my best, and it's stages where I chop off, you know, the fat. But then at the last stage, I'm just looking at myself. I'm like, dude, who's gonna listen to me?
Yeah.
Like I'm getting tired of myself. And that's when I send the videos out to other people, and I'm like, what do you think of this video? Please be truthful, man. I know you're a friend of mine. Just tell me what you think. And I know it gets annoying when I send that, but I just want to make sure I put something out that's watchable. Mm-hmm. That's not, you know, crap. That's why I just want to verify. I want to make sure that I'm making the best video I can. And it's just kind of hard in a way, but being a creator, man, I don't know. It's a tricky thing when you're a technician, creator, and you know, family man, and all this and that. Because we talked about it, you know, editing and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm.
It's a whole other talent, not talent, just skill set.
Yep.
I've gotten to the point where I don't even hit record until I'm ready to go, and then I don't want to have like silent moments in between them. I just press stop and then record when I'm ready to go, and then press stop instead of like letting the camera roll. Mm-hmm. And it's worked out a whole lot better for me. When
do you choose when you want to make a video? Is it when you get when you get the car? Let's just say okay, I have this car and it's just a nightmare. Let's say it has too many problems. Are you gonna? Are you? I don't know about you, but whenever I'm recording a video, it's just remember how we're talking about putting those blinders on and just focusing on the car. When it's a really really complex issue, I don't know if I want to bring the camera in because
it'll take more time.
Yeah, it's gonna take more time because okay, am I gonna set the camera here?
Yeah.
This and that. How am I gonna explain this?
Record.
Yeah. Oh wow, man, that happens way too much.
It kind of takes you out from focusing in on this. Maybe it's something that takes a lot of brain power to work through this particular thing. Yeah, and I've been the same way. Like, oh, I should record this. I should take pictures. Like, no, I'm already getting my butt kicked. I just got to focus on this car. And then I don't get any documentation.
So, like you asked, why do you choose which cars to get? I always do a pre-scan first, right? And everyone knows that. I say it in all of my videos. I haven't even picked up the camera at that time. I already brought in the car, reproduced the symptom, hopefully, at least once. If it's an intermittent issue, at least I reproduce it once, and then that's another, indicator that I may go forward with recording a video. Do my pre-scan, and if it's something that it's not like overly easy, then I may decide, you know what, this might be a good one. Look up TSBs. I actually look up TSBs sometimes before filming, and if there's a TSB on it, I more than likely won't film it because I'm just gonna share TSB.
Right.
Except for that hybrid video. The hybrid video, I ended up I didn't look up the TSBs beforehand, and then I found a TSB. And I was like, screw it, we're going to film it anyway.
Sure.
But still, if it's overly complex, if I think it's going to be, well, that's the thing, the K-Can one was pretty complex. If you think about it, it really depends. If it's too dead in the shop, I've got no content. And if it's too busy, I can't take the time to film. Even though my shop owner has not given me he hasn't said not one time, hey man, can you focus on the car or something like that? Not once. He's always cool with whatever I decide to do, and
that's awesome.
It's awesome to have that support.
Did he hire you because he saw you from YouTube?
He found me on YouTube.
All right, so he's a fan.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean I'm pretty
He's like,
I want to watch more content.
Yeah, come on, Mario. Stop working on these customers' cars and make this video, all right?
Dude, he literally has to push me sometimes. He's like, hey, why don't you film this one, man? This one's gonna be good. And then one of them, I filmed them. The BMW with the SMG, I think it's called SMG. Now I forget. It's the sequential manual gearbox. He's like, hey, why don't you film this one, man?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe. And then I filmed it, and it was like a hit. Everyone loved it.
Nice.
And I was like, hey, just let me know which ones you want me to film.
But so, does he see you as an investment to the business?
I don't think he doesn't.
Your channel's gonna grow, dude.
I know. Everyone knows that I work for Audubon.
Yeah. Sponsored by Audubon. This channel is sponsored by Audubon.
That's a smart move as a shop owner.
I'm not oblivious to the fact that he's leveraging my publicity towards getting more people into the shop. So, and not only that, I mean, all kinds of people are watching that channel. It's companies, vendors, customers, potential customers, family of customers. I got family down in Florida. So I do think that there's like a marketing aspect to it. It's not like I'm just a straight employee with a YouTube channel. I know that there's my contribution to the company is also in marketing and potential vendor, I guess benefits. And now we're starting the whole training thing with the local training. That helps too, so people actually come and see the shop and all that. I think it's growing. And, I'm not like, I'm just a YouTube channel. Like, a lot of people think that I don't realize that he's not using, but using the channel as a way to get, as another form of marketing. I mean, that's perfectly fine with me. If anything, that's a good trade-off for me. Yeah. Right. You let me do these channels, and you get the publicity. I think it's even.
Yeah.
You know how much people pay for marketing?
Right.
We're paying $5,000 a month sometimes just to get marketing out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think it's a pretty good trade-off.
So when you get to your 100,000 subscribers,
I'll buy the shop from him now.
get some equity from the shop.
How close are you? What are you at?
I'm
right
at
now?
30,000
Oh,
almost.
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. I think when we spoke, I was like at less than 5.
Oh wow. Okay.
And the last time I was on your podcast, I think I
Yeah,
was
a
like
couple
that.
of years ago. But that's awesome. That's huge.
But the thing is, you have 30, but you have the super fans. You have the people that
the core
the
audience.
core audience.
Yeah. I
That's
think
one
about
thing.
The hardcore, like I'll watch whatever you put. Fans are maybe like from 3 to 5,000.
Yeah,
And which
that's
is
awesome,
great.
man. No, that's awesome.
That's cool.
And I'm grateful for all of them. I mean, I didn't mean for this to turn into like a whole thing there, like about my channel, but
Oh, we're recording. Yeah, we're 2 hours into it. Well, hold up. When are we gonna start the podcast?
Well, you got a YouTube channel too, right?
yeah.
What's the name of that one?
Oz Mechanics.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's nothing too crazy. It's just general automotive and.
yeah, right. He's scoping in there too. You know?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, man. It's just I've been in YouTube for 10 years now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so when you start off, you don't know what you're doing. That's
for
for me. For me, I don't know.
No, same here.
That's how I started off. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just
I
kind of
didn't
like,
think anybody would watch.
but yeah, that's
Me,
that's
but,
why.
you know, not you.
And I don't know why you started. I started because of Paul. You know,
Me too.
That's why I started. I started because of Paul. And
Paul Danner, for those who don't
Yeah.
know.
well, everyone thinks he's Dan. So, but Dan Danner.
You know, we should call him Dan from now.
Yeah. Hey Dan, what's up? I think that's gonna get me. It's like, come on, man. You've been knowing me for so long. We could do that. No, but yeah, my thing was, okay, he helped out so many people. If I can just help out one person, like he helped me, let me just make a video. But then I got that one video out, got a little bit of views, and I was like, all right, cool. And it's funny because I called the block ahead. That's how nervous I was. I was doing North Star Engine. I was doing the time inserts, or what they called. So that was my first video, and it looked like I was, recording with a potato. Like my first, 25% of my videos, the first quarter of my videos are just horrible. It was like I was in a roller coaster. I don't know, man. I was just.
Or like David Roman says, a shaky cam diagnostic.
Oh my god, dude! And if I go back and I watch that, I'm just like, Jesus.
Yep. But that's a good thing. You want that, right? Like, because if you didn't feel that way, it means you didn't improve at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think if you can look back at your early stuff, you're like, wow, that's garbage. It's a good thing because you're improving. You're getting better as time goes on.
Yeah, but the thing is about YouTube, and going through the process is just kind of like, all right, now don't put the camera on your face too much.
Usually somebody's pissed off.
Yeah.
Because, I had a comment. It was an announcement at first, the first half of the video. And the guy's like, 3 minutes in and I'm still looking at this jackass's face. I'm done. And it's an announcement. Where do you want me to put my camera?
Just have it at your junk. All right, here you go. I don't know what to do anymore. No, but that's the thing, and you start trying to figure yourself out because, like, for me, it was mostly all basic videos. It was like, all right, this is how we're gonna be using this, and that. It was too basic. And then the thing is, when I started coming to the training events, I felt like people were looking at me like, oh, look, that's that, non-mechanic, is just shade tree mechanic. And then at that point I was like, no, I know how to diagnose. So then I started making diagnosing videos.
Okay.
And then when I started getting into that, those videos, that's when I started getting my other subscribers, and they're like, hey, we don't have a snap on. How are we going to do this? We don't have a scope. We don't have a test light. Okay, you shouldn't be working on a car. You don't have a test light. They're $1.99. But and then you just try to find that medium right there. But I'm to the point where I don't want to sound nasty, is just or bad. is I'd rather get a handshake from a fellow tech than just a regular person. That's just my thing right now. Mm-hmm. I'd rather a fellow tech coming up and, hey man,
well,
awesome
it's a
video.
big thing to have respect from your peers too, or and that's these events are so cool is you get to shake hands with some people that maybe you haven't met in person or met at all. And that's a good feeling for sure. I understand that.
That's just that's the one that you're like, okay, I'm finally doing something right. But it took so long to get to that and finding myself. But like for me, I don't know. I still tape with a potato as my iPhone. I still gotta upgrade. I treat it more like a hobby. I like YouTubing and all that. But I want to get more into it.
But you're also a one-man show, right?
Yeah, it's just it gets a little bit overwhelming at a point. And like I said, I think before we start taping, I've been filming in a really long time. But that's because I just had a kid too. 6 months old.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
He'll definitely eat up some time for sure.
It's an awesome baby, man.
Yeah. So are you ready for the stardom and all that?
I don't know about all that.
Oh, it's gonna happen, man.
I'm leveraging his podcast to get up there.
Well, you got a lot more viewers than I do. So.
Gonna get the word out.
No, because like I was talking to Eric O.
That didn't sound right. I'm sorry.
What?
I made it like that. I didn't mean to like, backhand anything. I was just trying to like, lighten the mood and all. We're all trying to work towards, making something out of it. Mm-hmm. And anything helps really.
I think your reasons for doing it will definitely evolve as time goes on, making content in any form, right? Like maybe you start it for this reason, you're after some specific thing and then you do it for a few years and it might shift. I know it did for me because I start getting messages from people that I've helped along the way or like, hey, you inspired me to go to some training events or whatever. And you talk to people at these training events and like, thanks for what you're doing. It really helped me here or it encouraged me to go find a better job or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, I want to keep doing it because of this. It's not why I started it. There's definitely some like ego involved when I started it. That's just 100% honest. But it's definitely shifted as time has went on for me to, it's helping people. It's making even just a small 1 degree difference in somebody's career trajectory. All right, I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep making stuff. So that's what's driven me as time went on to keep making stuff.
So I want to ask both of y'all, podcast and YouTubing, if you could go back and start from scratch, what's something that, for future YouTubers or podcasters, what would you do different from when you started?
I probably would have gotten a second person on. Trying to do it all solo is tough. And not that I couldn't right now, but like right from the get-go, I probably would have found a partner or somebody else, co-host, whatever you want to call it, just because being a solo content creator, if you're going to try to be consistent, life happens, right? You have a baby, you move, you switch jobs, whatever. You're just crazy busy and you're like, how am I going to get this out? And having like somebody to assist with that would be huge. And again, not that I can't do that right now, but that I would have started with that. That would have been the one thing I would have changed.
What kind of, do you want like a co-host or do you want like the Joe Rogan, that Jamie guy in the back?
Yeah, I think, I could probably go either direction. A co-host would probably be the way to go because then I'd be like, dude, I can't record an episode this week. You got somebody to fall back on to do it that way when it's a side gig, right? I'm not making any money from this, but to have somebody just be like, hey, can you do this week's episode? Like, that would be huge. So that might be in the future. I don't know exactly if I'll do that or not, but that probably would have been mine.
What?
I would have gone full Scotty Kilmer.
Hey, we have conversations about that. We have conversations about that. People talk mess, but he's a genius on what he's doing because he tells people what they want to hear.
Sure.
He made it.
Yeah.
He made it. I was kidding. I wouldn't go full Scotty. You never go full Scotty.
That's like go full. No, but dude, come on. You got to give him that. We had that conversation, but yeah, he's in the YouTube world. He's a genius because what he does, he tells people, and he tells people what they want to hear, But that's the thing. It makes us technicians look bad because it's like Scotty's like, well, you have a P0442. Just change out, your gas cap and you're done. You don't have to do this and that.
Pay off that thief.
Right.
Or just change your purge valve and you're good. Test it, man, please.
So I don't know anything about YouTube as far as like monetary amounts. What does a guy like that make off of YouTube?
He's a millionaire.
Really?
Yeah, easily.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
That's stupid.
easily.
He played the game and he won. Okay?
Yeah, well, and like you're saying, you gotta give him credit for playing that game, right? Wow, that's crazy.
You gotta understand, he's not really working on cars. He'll get on there, rant about something. Oh, this is why Toyota is the worst car, and a lot of his videos and it's clickbait too.
Oh, yeah.
He'll put like a picture of him, just like a sad picture, black and white, and it says, "I'm over." And then or
this is gonna be my last video.
This is gonna be my last video,
like
and then it's that clickbait, and he doesn't get like bad stuff. Like it's not negative outcome.
People love him.
No, they love him.
Huh.
You say something bad against Scotty to an actual fan, and they're
Kilmer
gonna think you're a lunatic.
Actually, I wouldn't say potential customer because someone called me and he got my number from Matt Schwartinger from So now he got my number from there, and he's like, "Hey, I have this older car," and I was like, "First of all, I don't work on older cars. And, okay, I have a Prelude. I got my own parts. This and that. I want you to put them on." And I was like, "First of all, I can't do that because we have warranties." And I want to make sure that we get the appropriate part. If it's not dealer, something close to a dealer part. And 1 year warranty, 6-month warranty for aftermarket ones, and so on. And then he's like, "Oh, you're established. Oh, my bad. I thought you were just
a shade tree."
Yeah, I thought you were just a shade tree guy." And then we were talking, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, so what really got me into YouTubing was Scotty Kilmer." And I was like, "Whoa, let's pump the brakes right here now." I was like, "Let's pump the brakes now." And we were just talking for a while, and I was just like, "Hey, look." So in the YouTube world, we have, I believe, is like a group of technicians or mechanics or what you want to call them. You have your off-road people, you have your technical, you have your, showing the vehicles and the cars, you have your podcasting, and it's all different. And I was like, I'm in a different area. If I want to call myself that, I'm in the technical area. So that's what I do. And then we kind of ended off the conversation like that. But yeah. But going back to that, he makes a crap ton of money.
Damn.
Yeah.
But at the expense of the integrity of the automotive industry.
Right.
So that's a problem for me, big time. Just as much as it's a problem for me to hear well-established technicians or instructors even bash new technicians for asking a question. Something that they think that they should have known, or else they shouldn't be in the industry or whatnot. But I think it bothers me equally. I think they're both equally low. There's somebody who's making millions off the backs of hardworking technicians, and yes, there are a lot of bad apples out there. But you can't put them all under the same net,
right?
Yeah. But that's what he does, and it kills me because he has the ear, he has the bigger microphone, and somebody like that all they do is bash and bash and bash. Like all they do is bash. There's channels who bash only dealer techs,
Yep.
And there's channels who bash indie techs. There's Scotty's channel that bashes the entire automotive industry.
Yeah,
Anybody that has anything more than a code reader. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the easy thing to do. Is just for anything is to put people or a group of people into a box, and all mechanics fit in this box,
and light them up.
And then that's just an easy okay, I'm done. I'm moving on with my day. I've made that opinion about people in the automotive industry, and now I'm going off to do my other thing. And that's easy. That's simple. You don't have to put a lot of thought to it. You don't have to really know anybody. You can just have that opinion and move on. So I think that's probably why there's so much, there's that much volume of viewers for a channel like that. And then the clickbait thing, like you're saying too, like, oh, I better click on this.
No, but I'm not even talking about his success. I'm talking about the way that he has manipulated the public perception. Mm-hmm. He has the bigger microphone, yes. Mm-hmm. He has success. He has millions of views. Maybe even a billion of views, total views.
Probably.
Swaying the public perception into thinking that the automotive industry is nothing but a bunch of crooks. Isn't that the biggest problem? Like, people talk about, oh, what can we do to better the image? Why don't we start by dealing with the people that have the biggest microphones who talk the most crap and take it, nip it in the bud? I mean, why does it... Obviously, there's things that prevent that from happening, right? But
Yeah.
we need to change the public perception. We have a lot of work to do to undo everything that guy alone has done. And there's a lot more like him. It's not just him.
Sure.
There's people who I respected in the past, and I didn't realize it. But at every opportunity, they bash someone who maybe missed something. And
well, this whole companies, right? The fixed thing or whatever, the stupid, those are all over YouTube as ads, right? And people see those all the time. Oh, I just have to buy this, $50 thing and play it in, right? What's wrong with it, and everybody else is stealing from you. Like, there's big companies making all kinds of money off of bashing the actual industry too. So yeah, you're right. It's not just him. There's a lot that we're fighting against.
It's actual tool companies and vendors and distributors.
Yeah.
How many times do we see, not to like, well, you know what, it has to be said, there's a lot of sponsors out here in this event that have campaigned with that same rhetoric.
Sure.
You don't need a diag. Let me go get you your codes read.
Yep.
And we'll sell you this part. You know who you are if you're listening. I mean, that needs to change as well. The people who are giving these companies so much money and power, they should stand up and say, hey, listen, this doesn't do us any favors for, us to help you succeed, you to sponsor these events, and then go around and basically undermine all the training that we're taking.
Yep.
We're here to train to get better and diagnose and troubleshooting and fault finding and whatnot, only to have the same companies that sponsor the training events on the back end undo that by preaching, oh, you don't need a diag tech. So
right. Companies
are saying you don't need a master tech anymore.
Yeah.
You use us.
Yep.
So how does that work, right? Not to get on this whole thing on your channel, on your podcast.
Oh, it's all good.
But it needs to be said, man. People need to start talking to these companies and saying, hey, listen, man, we need to change the trajectory of our path here. Maybe I think we should take a different approach. Change this whole thing about you don't need diag techs. Yes, we need diag techs. These cars are getting complex. I see them all the time.
Yeah.
And they're going to get worse.
Right.
And people need to get on the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10, 15 years from now, it's going to be crazy.
It's going to be nuts. And you go to any actual shop and ask the owners or even the technicians in the shops, hey, do we need people who can diagnose stuff? They're like, yeah. I know where I'm at. They're in really, really short supply for somebody who can figure out problems accurately. And that's why I've been so busy. But it's definitely going to increase in difficulty and the amount that we need people to do stuff like that. So the little fixed thing is it's not going to do it.
I'm so glad they're not out here. I think I would give them so much crap.
Yeah.
And this is going to be like a breakthrough, what's wrong with Mario now?
Mario.
I gotta say, I've talked so much crap about Dorman.
Okay.
I have. I made memes left and right.
Sure.
But they're turning it around. They don't go around saying we don't need the diag techs, we don't need this and that. What are they doing? They're pushing training, man.
Okay.
They're actually pushing training, and that's cool. I met Lester there yesterday and today, and I think what he's doing is good. Are their parts 100% great now? No, but they're working on it. Right? And I know people are gonna just face palm right now, but and I have no affiliation with Dorman. They're not pushing me in any single way to say any of this. But
sure,
it's an example of a company that has had a bad path, and they're trying to turn it around. They're sponsoring training events, and they're now going around saying, "Hey, you don't need a diag guy. You don't need troubleshooting, or we can figure it out with this and that." Would their parts it sure would be great if their parts worked the first time and shop owners weren't, second guessing their technicians.
Yeah.
As a result.
Right.
Yes, they got a lot of work to do, I think. But I'm just saying that's just a company that's actually doing something instead of what other companies are doing and undermining the training that we're taking.
Sure. I know you've talked about it before. But what are your thoughts on the YouTube side of it, where anybody, average Joe or technician, can go on there and learn a lot and figure out a lot to do potentially on their own, and they have access to buy these tools, right? They could go to an AutoZone, they go to Amazon and buy a 608, and they can watch a few YouTube videos, and then they can figure out some key stuff or some programming stuff potentially on their own. Do you see that as affecting the value of the industry in the same way?
I think it opens the door towards people who have not been in the industry and somehow getting them in. The problem isn't that they are being tooled up and trained. The problem is when they undercharge and they just give it away. Because then that has an effect on the market. Everyone's going to expect less and less and less, and this stuff is not easy. I show it in my channel all the time, like the stuff that is required to do like EEPROM work, and in the groups I show like the key stuff. It's not as easy as it looks. Oh, it's just a key, just program it. Sometimes it's not that easy. And as a result, like when people start undercharging and all that, that's the problem, I think. It's that very same thing that got me into the industry is being able to buy the tools and this and that. I don't think that's the problem. It's me, Joe Schmo, walking in and buying an IM608 and, taking it upon myself to go and learn how to use it. That's a daunting task as it is.
Sure.
So more power to them, I say, and join the industry, but stop undercharging. To get into the industry, become a part of the community, and but the thing is, on the flip side, when they do join the community and they ask a question in the groups, what happens? They get slaughtered.
Get blasted. Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the only determining factor is how much they charge. So that's, in a way, yeah, you should be charging more, but as soon as the guy says, "Oh, I just charge $100 for these," somebody blasts them, and that's a bit ridiculous. I think that if you're gonna have people buying tools and getting into the industry, then mentor them and correct them, educate them. That's what they need to get is education, right? But for what's gonna happen when they get blasted, they're gonna exclude themselves from those groups, and they're going to keep doing what they're doing as a solo, like as a free agent.
Yeah,
there's not going to be any guidance whatsoever.
Right, just racing to the bottom because
right,
you don't feel like you're part of the actual industry, or you're pissed off because somebody said something to you. Like
exactly, I go in, I'm Joe Schmo, I bought my locksmith kit, and I start making keys. I charge $100, and I go into a group. I'm like, "Hey, listen, guys, I'm having trouble here. Well, how much are you charging?" I'm charging $100. You know what? You should pack up your tools and leave. Get out of the industry. How's that going to help anybody? Instead, I should be that going into the group. Oh, I charge $100. Hey, listen, man, that's not going to do anybody any favors. I know you're probably having a rough time, but you should definitely raise your rates. And look, here's how this is something you can do to help you finish the job. But if you need any help with anything, contact me. And then they become part of the industry little by little. People start supporting that, and then they raise their rates as a result, because once they see what is required to learn locksmithing, then they would appreciate the value that we have. They would start charging more. It's like, oh man, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be. I gotta take out a BCN, take out the EEPROM, read the data, calculate the PIN number, put the EEPROM back in, reinstall the BCN, all this stuff.
Yep.
And synchronize the whole thing. I mean,
sure.
Obviously, that's a very vague
explanation. Yeah, that's the sort of thing that you got to figure out each one of those steps, and each one of those steps has learning involved, or you got to seek out information from somebody, or get another tool.
I got to buy a rework station.
Yeah.
Imagine taking that person through that process. And yes, they're undercharging today, but they're going to change that because they realize, oh man, this takes a lot more work than I thought. I can't be charging $100 to go buy. How am I going to afford a soldering station?
Exactly.
Yeah. But instead, people are just bashing them, and then the guy leaves the group, and everyone laughs. But then now he leaves the group and he continues undercharging everybody. Mm-hmm. What good is that?
Right.
You know? I think that the approaches could definitely use some work. How we handle the people who are seemingly undercharging.
Sure.
But it needs to be done in a better way, I think. And there's a lot of people who just don't care, unfortunately.
Right.
They don't care how.
Yeah, you're never going to get rid of that completely. That's just the way it's going to be. But
we can look down on that. We can start speaking up against that. People who are like that. Like, that's what I've been doing, is speaking against people who are doing that. Hey, what did this guy do to you? Do you know him? Mm-hmm. Are you BSing around? Are you calling him names because you guys know each other or something?
Right.
Who are you anyway?
Mm-hmm.
What's this all about?
Well, yeah.
So you're the best.
You had to learn it from somebody, right?
Yeah, you have to learn it from somebody. But apparently, you're the best thing since Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And now you think it's okay to talk to some people a certain way, and really, it makes you look like a douche. It discourages that person. Mm-hmm. It makes them think that we're a nasty industry as it is, and then they're just going to keep doing what they're doing anyway. Mm-hmm. That doesn't help anybody, I think. That's my opinion on the whole thing. I think we should just handle it differently. Maybe mentor them instead, teach them, and show them how much it really takes to do this stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's the approach I take with the channel as well, because I'm trying to show them. Yes, I'm showing this publicly, but more than likely a technician is going to be looking at this, not usually the public. And if the public does see it, they'll see what it's involved in doing what we do. If the technician sees it, they get to learn and they get to appreciate how much. Man, maybe I'm not making enough money in this shop.
Right.
And I got to do this. I got to buy a scope. I got to buy a scanner. I got to buy all this stuff. Obviously, there's, that's a whole other argument whether they should be buying all that stuff. But they can start to appreciate the amount of investment that needs to take place.
Well, yeah, and seeing somebody else's success too can definitely inspire you.
Seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, at least.
I can do this. I can be successful too. Or, hey, wow, what I was doing. If you start talking about dollar amounts and stuff like that, which I realize isn't always the case. But you're like, oh wow, I can charge this much for this job. That's been helpful for me, is just communicate with other people. Like, what do you charge for doing this job? I'm like, oh wow, okay. That's huge. And then not to overcharge people, but just to be at the correct amount. And again, seeing other people's success with what they're doing from YouTube, from Facebook groups, whatever. That's been just huge for me to know. Like, give me the confidence to go for this. Yeah, I'm going to buy this tool because I see what potential is there if I have it, or if I'm able to take on this job. So, it's powerful stuff for sure.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand as well. Like, you'll have that person that gives that pushback. Oh, well, I don't want to rip off the customer. Listen, it's not ripping off the customer. It's clearing your overhead, and it's being able to become profitable so that you can continue investing and learning and all this stuff. Because you're going to take time to learn your stuff, and that time costs money. Mm-hmm. So you charge the customer at cost, the key, and then maybe like, I'm good with $20. What? Don't you have to pay rent? Don't you have to pay a mortgage? Do you have kids to feed?
Yeah.
Don't you want to buy another tool? That tool's not going to do the whole job. Mm-hmm. You have to buy another tool.
Yep.
So there's...
Industry is expensive, man.
It's expensive, yes. Yeah. But, that's what we're up against daily. And the cards are getting more complex, and we need to stay with the times. That's something that I know what I signed into. And... is it for everybody? No, but
it's fun.
It is fun.
It's fun, man.
It is very fulfilling too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a satisfying career for sure. Definitely.
It's when you figure out that problem. It's just, I don't know. To this day, it's still fun. Mm-hmm. I don't know. If I don't want to bash the other people. It's just like, for me, doing breaks every single day. I don't know. I would just kind of get bored. But as a technician, diagnostician, you get different things once in a while.
Yep.
And then finding that problem that no one can figure out, it's just a beautiful feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's, there's always challenge available to you in this industry.
There's no shortage of challenge.
Yeah. You can do the monotonous stuff like breaks, and that's fine, and you're really good at it. You're making money, but having that one car, that one job that really pushes you to figure something out, or maybe you've screwed up or whatever, but you finally get through it and you learn something out of it. Yeah, that feeling is huge, and keeps me coming back every day. If I was just doing the same thing over and over, I would have left this industry a long time ago.
But then you do that. So let's say you fix up a car and you finally, get that reward. And then this other car comes in for a suspension job, and then you see how much you get paid. You're like, oh, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's very true.
Maybe it's a good balance. It's a good balance.
Yeah, you gotta be like, all right, so yeah, it's not bad. Okay, so we're gonna keep that balance right there.
Yep.
I'm gonna do this and that.
One feeds the other. I mean, would it be nice to diag all day long and get good at that and really hone in on your skills? Sure, but that's the whole point. You're training still. You're honing your skills, and until you're great at diag, the front end work is just going to be more profitable.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get there, man, diag could be extremely profitable.
Yep.
And it's not that you get there and you're done. You're constantly learning.
Oh yeah, you're never gonna know it all.
But it definitely gets easier with time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I was talking to a friend of mine, Eric from Advanced Level Auto. I was talking to him, and I was like, I just love diag, dude. I just want to do it every day. He's like, sometimes don't you just want to turn on the music at full blast and just do the breaks because you already know how everything's going?
Yep.
It's because when I'm diagging, everything has to be quiet. I'll have some podcasts on, but
I can't focus on them.
Yeah, I can't focus on them.
Yep.
It's just kind of like noise on the background.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm doing brakes or suspension, I'm laughing right there. I'm just listening to that stuff. And yeah, sometimes you do want to just shut
off, yeah.
Just shut off
Yep.
and just listen to some music and just have a good time. So yeah, just that little balance right there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I can say the same. I'll take wiring over brake dust all day long.
But okay, when I first started off, I just had music just blasting the whole time, and I don't know, that made it. Well, both of them, when I'm diagging, it feels like time is just flying. It's going really quick.
All the more reason.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes you're just kind of aggravated because service information's not there or something's going on, and you get home and then you're like, I gotta research more stuff, and you don't turn that off.
Absolutely.
Right. I worked with a couple people over the years that wanted to work in complete silence, and that was even just when they were doing tires or brakes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't want any music on in the shop, and it's just silence unless you're talking to them. And I could never operate that way. I had to have some tunes going if I was working.
Yeah, I went to Firestone to program a car over there, and this guy, he had the music on, and then you see the other tech, so he walks away, the other tech comes by, puts it down. And then he walks away, and the other tech comes by, blasts it. I'm just there laughing, man. I'm just programming the vehicle. I'm just like, all right.
Yep.
I'm so glad I work with my brother. We blast heavy metal all day long. 400 watt sound system.
While diagging too?
While diagging too.
Geez.
The only time I don't have the music blasting is when I do the YouTube video, so that they don't, mute my video or
Sure.
to take it down or whatever.
Yeah.
So copyright claims and whatnot. But other than that, I'm not full blast, but loud enough.
Yeah.
On Fridays we put some rap on.
Yeah, there's a couple shops I go into that they've got the huge speaker there, and they've just got it cranked so like you can't even hear yourself talk.
Oh no, not like that. No.
That's a little much for me. I had to ask them a couple times to turn it down because I was listening to the engine crank and I couldn't even hear the compression when I was done. Like, hey guys, can you turn that down for a moment? But yeah, I always had to have some music going while I was working.
It keeps the rhythm going.
Yeah.
I cannot do the ultimate, absolute silence thing.
No, it's weird.
It'll kill me.
Right?
It'll kill me. I always have music playing in my head 24/7.
Well, yeah, you play guitar too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I play guitar and been playing for 19 years.
Sure.
And, I always have some kind of song in my head. But it sure is nice to switch that off and listen to something external,
Yeah.
And I do that at work. I'm looking up diagrams, jamming out,
Mm-hmm.
Because not for nothing, but as a guitar player, I'm listening to all the notes. So I'll listen to instrumentals all day long.
Okay.
Vocals and stuff, I don't care for vocals that much. So I'm listening to all the notes, and you always it always makes me want to write something new. It inspires me to do something else.
Okay.
Or things like that, and it kind of helps me in my thought process, believe it or not. I think music has something to do with it. It helps me.
Yeah. I think you definitely
digest information for some reason.
Definitely set the mood of the shop for sure.
Yeah, I think you like this music, you're out.
Right.
That's the thing. So what I've been playing is just mostly like the Robert Kiyosaki
The what?
the audiobooks.
Okay.
Yeah, so people walk by and they're like, all right, so you want to be rich. And I'm like, hey, what's going on?
Turn it off.
Yeah, turn it off. Hold up.
And then it plays on the Bluetooth.
Yeah.
We had this a local radio morning show that we would have on. So we just played the rock station most of the time in the shop, and so they had the morning show and they're going back and forth and whatever. But they would have a game show. I think it was every Friday where they'd have listeners call in, and they would have recordings from pornos as part of the game show. It was called Front or Back, and the listeners had to guess. But we'd have that going in the shop, and people would walk by and give us funny looks, and Firestone eventually made us not listen to that morning show on Fridays anymore. But
I have my phone connected to my Bluetooth at work. And there's times that, the boss is there, and you don't care about the music.
Yeah.
And the one and only here, Oz, sends me messages every now and then, and it starts off like a serious video.
Oh, yeah.
And then it ends as like a very loud moaning from a girl. And one time my wife heard it too. I was like, oh man, here we go.
Dude, there was a period when I was, sending that to everyone. I would send that to everyone, and I was like, should I send it to him? Screw it.
I'm glad you stopped doing that.
That was really.
What do you send me now?
No, that was really funny. I like that.
That's awesome.
Oh God.
Well, cool guys. Thanks for doing this with me. I appreciate it. It's been
for
fun.
having us, man.
Yeah.
This was nice.
Definitely.
I like your setup here, man.
Yeah, the on the road setup here, but it does the trick.
Pretty soon you're gonna be flying out to all these events, huh? And
Yeah,
doing this.
that'd be cool. I got to get an actual studio one of these times. But yeah, doing it in person is so much better than doing it on a screen, like via the internet, because there's almost always like at least a hair of time delay, and it makes the pauses between people talking really awkward, because you'll see me pause, but really I'm still talking or whatever, and then we're talking over each other. And yeah, if I could do them all in person, that'd be awesome. But
you gotta do it like Steve-O, man. Just get a little RV or a little van.
drive around.
Just drive around.
Oh, man, that'd be badass.
We'll just go in there.
What I wanted to do, what I thought would be really cool, is go around the country and go for like a ride along with all the mobile guys. Stop at some of the shops and stuff where guys are at, and just spend a day like with everybody as like a big long road trip. I think that'd be pretty cool. But I gotta, I don't know, save up a whole bunch of money in order to do that.
I was about to say, what's stopping you, man? That sounds like good. That sounds like
nothing but money.
Yeah, I was like, come on, man, you gotta get a loan. That sounds like a good idea, man. I like that. I really like that.
Or, I like what you're doing here. I like your podcast a lot, and it's the technician side, and it's awesome. And I think maybe some companies should sponsor you. Come out to these events,
Sure. Yeah, that's I haven't pursued that too much, but I definitely should.
So I think I got to reach out to somebody and see if they can make it happen, because I think what you're doing is good.
Yeah.
And, every event they can benefit from this, and as much as technicians can.
Right. Yeah. So, I always said if I was going to do any advertising or sponsorship, it'd be stuff that I used, right? And so I haven't done like an official sponsor. I sell the top down stuff now, so I'll talk about that. And I get, if I sell a tool, I make a little bit of money, but they don't sponsor me or anything like that. But yeah, I would do it with something that I actually use or would recommend to somebody else. Of course. Definitely. That would be the thing. But I've done zero for pursuing that, and I should.
I hope they reach out to you, because, I think it's a win-win both sides.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm really hoping that you get that van and drive around.
Oh, dude, I'd make like a documentary about it. I think it'd be badass.
Dude,
I don't know how many people would want to watch it, but put it on Netflix or whatever.
Yeah, it'd still be awesome, man. Yeah. Just for you and for everything. That sounds really cool, man.
Someday.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Cool.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. big thank you to Mario and Oz for spending the time with me. It was cool getting to sit down and chat with these guys. Both really awesome. Again, recommend that you check out both the YouTube channels, both Oz Mechanics and Super Mario Diagnostics. Go to the show notes of this episode. You're going to see links to those channels and you can start watching some of their content. Also like to thank everybody for listening and all the feedback I've been getting on the show. Always appreciate that, so keep it coming. But other than that, let's all get out there, start fixing the world one car at a time.